As the weather heats up across California, so does the need for agriculture labor. And while immediate thought might go to those crops at harvest, other crops are suffering from the ag labor shortage as well. Russell Efird grows grapes, almonds, and walnuts in Fresno County. He is also a past president of the Fresno County Farm Bureau. He says labor shortages are affecting him this year.
Well, it's been in the news, and we in agriculture right now are facing a labor shortage. We had it last year. Again, it's going to happen this year, and it's even happening a little earlier. And what has happened is some of the east side growers that grow fresh fruit have increased their wages to employees to entice and make sure that they have the crews that they need to pick their fruit, since they have such a small harvest period.
He says with the labor being pooled to harvest fresh fruit to cover those labor shortages, it leaves few workers to do the ongoing maintenance needed by other crops. And that means growers will have to wait longer and pay more for that work.
We have the situation in this newly planted vineyard that this wire, this drip tubing was sitting on the ground. This is a support wire for the drip. And of course it had to be brought up and tied here before we could raise the tubing up. And so this job was contracted to individuals that do it for vineyards, and he had hoped to have it finished 2 weeks ago. Unfortunately, we got finished last Monday. And since it's taken so long, they were supposed to have 8-10 people doing it. They ended up only having 2 people. The others went to pick fresh fruit. So what's happened, instead of our weeds being this high, which we could spray real easily below this cover, we now have weeds that are as high as the vine that's here. And on some of these, we're fortunate here. This one here has wound himself up real nice, but a lot of these might have this, it's not hooked, and the grapevine is hanging over like this. So if we come through and spray it, we're going to kill the vine along with killing the weeds. So what we're having to do now is get this brought back up, come in here, get rid of the taller weeds, so when we spray it, we will not be hitting this, and we're going to get the ones that are leaning over, we're going to tie them back up on this bamboo stake here to help hold them and support that vine, so we can come in and try to get rid of the weeds. And so it's one of those things where, because we didn't have a timely progression of what we were doing, we now have a little bigger problem than we'd hoped to have. And therefore it's going to cost us a little bit more money to eradicate the weeds and get the vines all tied up the way they should be.
He says the right comprehensive immigration bill could alleviate the problem and help turn things around for farmers.
This immigration bill has to be able to balance what we need and what we're able to get. We have proved that we can't get the people that are taking welfare to come out and work. It's a job that they don't want to do, for whatever reason. And I do not believe it's a wage issue. I believe it's just a condition. If you can sit at home, possibly, or if your choice is, I have a choice of agriculture or working in an air-conditioned place, whatever the case may be, I might wait for that one. So with our heat and our cold and everything else, it is a more difficult scenario. So we have to have it. We grow perishable crops. As I was mentioning about the peach crops that are being harvested right now, you have a 5-day window to pick the fresh fruit that's ready to be picked. So you can't wait for any time to get it. And that has been one of the problems with the program that is in place by the government, the H-2A program. It just takes too much time, and it's for California agriculture that has such short windows of harvest. You just can't, it just doesn't meet your needs. It just does not work. So they're trying to balance that in Washington, D.C. In both bills, the House, the H.R. 1773 and the Senate Bill 744, I believe it is, both of those have an ag worker program that those individuals stay in agriculture, have to work in agriculture for a period of time before they can even start into the back path of the citizenship, if that's where they're going, and or even permanent resident alien. So both provisions have that in there. There's different caveats to both of them. You like some in one bill, you like some in the other. But the main thing is we need to be able to have a supply, a workforce that we can depend on. And that is probably the most crucial thing. And it needs to be able to be dependable today, tomorrow, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years from now.
He plans on keeping a close eye on what both the House and the Senate are doing with the immigration bill. I'm Sabrina Hill for AgNet Video.